Hey everyone, happy Saturday, welcome back. So I got a surprise today. My HGA sub has finally returned. So I sent this one out in February, so a little bit over 4 months. I know they're catching up with their backlogs, but I'm going to do a quick blind reveal based on my guess and the actual, and give you guys a little context. These are cards from my friend Kevin, and none of these I thought would gem. So I wanted to see the basically the tolerance now with the new ownership and stuff like that, to kind of go over that. So we're going to look at the grades, and we're going to go under the scope to see why I thought what I thought and why they got what they got. And then we'll talk a little bit more about HGA in general after, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as well. So let's get right to it. Alright guys, let's bust into this box. But to the left, of course, you guys can see the screen. I keep a spreadsheet for everyone as I do the submissions for them, so you kind of have an idea ahead of time what you might get. Granted, like I said before, that I'm not always accurate by any means, because this is all subjective. This is just my opinion of what I think the card is going to be based on my own inspection. So we're going to go ahead and break this open and see what we got. And we did not look at these beforehand, just because, like I said, it was kind of a surprise. They've been gone for so long where they switched ownerships and such before, well, during the whole time that these cards were actually gone. So it'll be pretty interesting to see and go from there. Just cutting up this box. All right, here we go. All right, so we're gonna go. Black label BGS, that's a little bit different, huh? Alright. So first card is a Pokemon card, and we'll take a look and see what it is, and then we'll kind of go through the screen and see what I thought it was going to be. So we have the Mew. It did end up getting a gem mint. Let's see if we can, that's probably better. You can see better now. So we got a 9-5 corners, 10 for edges, 10 for surface, and 9-5 for centering. What I actually thought this card was going to be was a 9. I thought the centering was 9-5, which we're agreeing on. I thought the surface was a 9. I thought the edges were a 9-5, and I thought that the corners were a 9. So we're going to dive a little bit into that after we finish the reveal. Second card is the Juan Soto. This did get a 9. So it got an 8-5 for corners, 9 for edges, 9-5 for surface, and 9-5 for centering. For this particular card, this is the crystal ball. I thought that it had a 9-5 for centering, which we agree upon, a 9 for surface, which is a little bit worse than what they thought, 9 for edges, which we agree upon, and corners they gave it an 8-5, and I gave it a 9-5. Actually, I gave it a 9-5 as well. So we're gonna look into that. Third card, Pokemon. This is the Black Star promo. It got a 9-5 as well. This one I didn't think was good at all, but they thought the corners were 9 and everything else was a 9-5 for me. This particular card, I thought the centering was a 9, and then I thought that the surface was a 9-5, so we agreed on that. Edges 9, I gave it a 9, they gave it a 9-5, and corners 9 as well. So kind of agree for the most part. Third card is the Pikachu, also a Black Star promo. This got a 9. And I gave it a 9 as well. I gave it an 8-5 for centering. They gave it a 9-5. And then 9-5 for surface. I gave it a 9-5 as well for surface. And then edges, they gave it a 9-5, as did I. And corners, they gave it an 8-5. And I gave it a, let's see here, Pikachu, 9-5. So, yeah, I mean, we're pretty close except centering. We basically just switched centering and corners around. So we'll take a deep dive into that. Next one's the other one, Soto. This is the Stadium Club Virtual Reality Gold Refractor. This is numbered. So I thought this card was going to be a 9 as well. I gave it a 9-5 centering, as did they. Surface, they gave it a 9-5. I gave it a 9. Edges, they gave it a 9-5. I gave it a 9 as well. And corners, they gave it an 8-5, and I gave it a 9-5. All right, Francisco Alvarez. Refractor Auto. This came back a 10. Oops. Okay, here we go. All right, so what did we get here? So Francisco Alvarez. They gave everything a 10 except for corners a 9-5, and as for me, I gave a 9-5 centering and 9 on everything else. We're definitely gonna probably take a look at this one. Next card, Gengar VMAX. There it is. This card, I gave it a 9.5 centering. They gave it a 9.5 as well. Surface, I gave it a 9.5. They gave it a 10. And then the edges, they gave it a 10, and I gave it a 9. And the corners, I gave it a 9, and they gave it a 9.5. Reshiram. Here we go. So that got 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, and 10. I gave this particular card a 8.5 for centering, 9.5 for surface, 9.5 for edges, 9.5 for corners. So we're pretty close on everything except centering. So we're going to definitely take a look at that one for sure. And that was it. So we're going to look under the scope now. So I hope you enjoyed that part of the reveal. And here we go. Alright guys, so now we're going to take a look at some of the opinions between the two of us. So the first card I want to really take a look at was the Francisco Lindor, since it did get a HGA 10, which, you know, those are pretty hard to come by. At least what I've heard. Pull it out. There we go. So I'm going to put this under the scope. So it got a 10 for corners, so we're going to take a look at that first. Okay, let me make sure it's focused. There we go, focused. There we go. 10 for corners, so that one looks good. That one looks good, a little bit, but not too much to make it horrible. That's probably why I gave that corner a 9. This particular corner right here, though, I don't know if you guys can see that, but probably not, but for me, I'll put it on negative. Looks okay. It's a little bit fuzzy, rounded at that side, but difference of opinion, which is okay. And then this particular corner right there, I don't know if you guys can see, but me, I don't like that corner. You can see the black right there and a little fuzziness, and that's not part, the B is not complete, so that tells me it's paper loss. But if I want to zoom in so you guys can see right there, you see how the pixels, there's little dots and it suddenly just disappears. Well, that's one piece, and the second piece, it goes dark. It goes completely black. That means it's white underneath. That's just paper loss. That's probably why I gave the corners on this particular card a, where'd it go here? Francisco Lindor. I gave it a 9 for corners. I did. All right. So we're going to look on the back too. So HGA, before the owner switch, I know Tyler and company told me they graded it just the same. So this also got a 10 for edges, keep in mind, and you can see already it's a little bit fuzzy here and there. It's missing some of the paper. But this corner right here, you can see there's a little dark over there. So for me, it's not a 10, but that's okay. It's just a difference in opinion. If it's a 10 for HGA standards, that's okay. But as you can look on the edges, it's a little bit rough. That's why I gave it a 9. But go on the other side just to make sure here too. This corner's good. Now we're gonna go flip it around now. This particular corner, same thing. You guys can see a little bit on the coloring. I don't know if you can, at least. But the little fraying in the paper, you can see it better obviously in person, or I can since I'm in person. So that corner to me is a little bit off. Not enough for me to give it a 9.5. I gave it a 9, like I said. So happy with the overall results. I'm sure Kevin is, and this was part of our experiment. So yeah, that's one card. And then the other one was I think the big difference was the Reshiram. Alright, this one got a 9.5 centering. Alright, so I'm gonna look at the Pikachu too, because I gave this bad boy a Pikachu V 8.5 for centering. They gave it a 9.5. So we're gonna take a look at this bad boy and see why. Alright. So, well, it's probably easier to show you like this instead, actually. Alright, so this particular card, if you look at the borders, if you can see it at all, here you go. The left is much more narrow than the right. I felt it was worse than 60-40. Top to bottom's okay, but left to right's clearly bad. But they gave it a 9.5. I gave it an 8.5. And then the backside too, as you can see, probably better is way off. So I don't agree with the 9.5 centering, but that's okay. It's not my grading company. Then we're going to take a look here at the, what was the other one? The Reshiram, that's right. That got a 9.5 for centering as well. And that centering is probably the only piece you can really see without having to go under a scope or measure if it's way off. So we're going to take out this Reshiram. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take a look at this thing. So this got a 10 for centering. I think I gave it an 8.5. Top to bottom is off. To me, to not give it a 10. Left to right is still off left to right a little bit. Not bad enough to be whatever. Backside looks okay. So I think I gave it a 9 for centering. This gave it a 10. I'll double check just to make sure. But I think I gave it a 9 for centering. No, I gave it an 8.5. I mean, I was probably a little bit harsh. I'd give it a 9 still. For centering, not quite a 10. So there you have that. And that's just my opinion. But some of the other things we were looking at was corners. So they gave some an 8.5. Let's take a look. Which one? Mew. I gave that. No, did pretty good over there. The Pokeball. Not that one again. Alright, Pikachu V. They gave this an 8.5 for corners. I gave it a 9.5. So we're just going to take a look here. Alright, back to the scope. And this is basically how I do my research based on companies. I look at what they came back with and then try to compare it with my notes, and then we'll go from there. So they gave this an 8.5 and I gave it a 9.5. Corner looks okay. It's the edges that doesn't look good on this one, or doesn't look great, I should say. This corner, same thing, it's round. And let's see the other side here. And there's no chipping either. It's nice and smooth. And the last one, last corner here, also looks good. There's no whitening, so we'll go on the back side. Maybe that's where it is. There you go. There's one of those corners. That wasn't there before we sent it. And we know these things. Same with that. So when they're gone for a significant amount of time, of course, a lot of things can happen. And we've been very meticulous on what we send, so that's how I know that it could have possibly been damaged throughout the process, but no way to prove it, nothing you can do. So that makes sense on why it was a 8.5 for corners. I agree based on looking at that, but I don't agree with when we sent it. So that's the other piece of that. I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video. If you have any questions, feel free to PM me and stuff. Alright guys, so as far as my thoughts on HGA at the current state, just to let you guys know, I've done a lot of orders with HGA, and I was a big fan and a firm supporter, and I don't know if I still am. Not that it's negative, it's just not for me, which is okay. Part of the reason is because, like I said, the ownership changed. The second was they tried so hard to make everyone happy that they literally bent over backwards, and that's probably why they were struggling on the backlog, the QC, just like everything else. I never thought they should have gone away from the raffle system. They were able to complete the job, and they were able to do a good job, not just with the time frame, but also they were better on the quality control side. But when you're, people are unhappy with custom labels and they're sending it back, and you're taking that time to do that, and also, opening things up to group subs and stuff like that, it just kind of bottlenecked them. That's how I felt. I'm sure they thought they could handle it. Obviously with PSA at the time being, just pausing everything. Same with BGS and even SGC for a little bit. They probably thought they could handle what was going to happen, and no one could have known. I don't think they knew, because nobody knew. But when you start off your company where the motto says it's 10 days mean 10 days, you kind of have to keep with that. Like, everything else has to go on the back burner, because it's no longer your motto. You can't just erase it off the website and then it's gone. Second piece is not really the value piece, because that's either going to come or they're not. The labels are cool. Like I said, they're catchy. I think they'd be better off doing just TCG, Pokemon, Dragon Ball, stuff like that. Sports, obviously, people are still going to send for PCs, which I think is great. But as far as them becoming like a top 4, I don't see it happening. Like, even for my PC now, I'd rather send a rare edition grading for multiple reasons. Great slabs, great service, great prices, $4 more, but the service behind it and the quality of the product that comes back is really good. As you can see, the discrepancies between the grading, it's so far in between where, I mean, not every company is going to be perfect. PSA makes mistakes, BGS makes mistakes, and all them big companies make mistakes too. But the difference is that the market's already kind of accepted it, and it is kind of what it is. But they do more quality work than negative. But just like everything else, the negative gets kind of highlighted as opposed to all of the things that are done correctly. And like I said, my biggest thing with HGA was the kind of, I don't want to say they didn't drop the ball. It's just kind of like they went so hard on the customer service piece, and then it died. Like, the customer service is not terrible by any means, but the answers became like BGS answers where it's kind of scripted and stuff, which is okay. But I think if they would have scaled properly, or took a little bit more time before they started accepting more submissions so they can iron out what they had going on, it would have been a lot better. But for now, like I said, this is probably my last HGA sub for a while, if not forever. I'll be going back to probably rare edition grading, like I said, for PC and things like that. As soon as they open up for Pokemon cards and other type of cards, I'll probably be sending a lot more actually their way. I'm not paid by them, by the way. I just really enjoy the quality of their slabs. So I hope this reveal helps. It looks like HGA's caught up on their turnaround time, which is great. I know that's one of the biggest things, pet peeves in the entire industry. PSA, I'm still waiting for a Pokemon sub from April of last year. So it coming back in 4 months is no big deal because I didn't really care. But like I said, PSA, everyone kind of knew going in that things were going to be delayed. But when it comes to HGA, where their motto really was around turnaround times, that's not acceptable because that's what they prided themselves on. That's what they bashed. They didn't bash, but that's what they kind of passive aggressively marketed, that they were better than the other companies on. SGC did the same thing not too long ago, as you guys can remember too, if you've subbed to SGC. So it's just a mistake. You have no idea what's coming in waves. So, but I hope they do well. The new company, obviously new ownership. That's the other piece. The new ownership has no experience in the trading card world. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out. Like I said, I hope they do well, and then we'll just kind of take it from there. And that's it. Enjoy. Have a good night, guys. Happy Father's Day tomorrow.